Do you want to come sit down and just ask them to us? Okay. Perfect timing.
Hi.
Or we have to
Okay, I have to tweet this, so I'll let you focus on starting the Hangout. Okay, guys? I'll tweet a new link everywhere. We're live now.
Oh, we're live?
Yes, we're live.
Nice.
Well, I still have to share the link to everyone now, so I'll let you guys do this.
Yeah, so and we should share the link in that.
I'll share the.
Sorry, guys. Google Hangouts sometimes is just.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work the way we want it to.
Okay.
If you're watching this late, we started with one stream and then had to switch.
Yeah.
But well, maybe we can do quick intros because I think most of the people that will watch us live probably already know who we are. You want to start?
Yeah. So I am Richard.
Watch here for now.
Leading the development of the app.
Hi, I'm Tay. I'm like Jordi's manager. Just helping him, like going through his communication stuff, email, everything.
Yeah. I'm Griff. I'm just, doing anything I can to help make Giveth happen.
And I'm Chris, and I'm helping with communications for Giveth, and I was slightly distracted by hearing the delay. So welcome.
And we got
Kai over there, who's currently setting up the video so that we can have a perfect live stream, which everyone will join. Production.
So do we have the link?
Yeah, I'm like sharing the link now in Riot. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess while we're doing this, I can give a little Giveth spiel, just an overview. Giveth is a community focused on blockchain for good. So we are not a company. We're not a nonprofit, although we have nonprofit ideals. We are a blockchain-based entity, and we're really free-flowing, non-hierarchical, just a bunch of people trying to make the world a better place and using blockchain technology to do it. That's kind of our jam. And our main focus is our Giveth DApp, which the dream is to decentralize charities, to create communities around causes. And Giveth itself is the first of these causes. We're trying to dog food ourselves, right? Our cause is blockchain for good, and we're using the DApp to have transparent accounting and accountability on all of our donations. So when a donation comes into Giveth, the donors should be able to see exactly where that donation goes and what good it did. This is a huge need in the charity space, and on top of that accountability and transparency, we also want to really make it easy for people to build communities. So when you come to Giveth the Giveth DApp to create you can almost think of it as like a Kickstarter for your idea or for your community. You can actually just type in a couple things and end up with, once the DApp is actually finished, you'll end up with a chat room where everyone can go and hang out, and a transparent way to raise funds and basically do accounting over those funds. And in a decentralized way, where maybe you have this goal of helping homeless people in Barcelona, and someone else has an idea, anyone can actually apply for funds through your community or through your campaign, and create a milestone. And if the people who are controlling that campaign or community decide that that's a good milestone to fund, then it can go there. So that's kind of the general idea. It would be pretty cool to see we're really excited about getting other people to use our software. We first have to finish it, and we're really close. We have a release that people can try out. Anyone can go to develop.giveth.io and play around with it. It's still a little buggy. We're working out the kinks. Blockchain technology is not the easiest to work with sometimes, and Ethereum is in a very raw state. So we're pushing hard to solve some real issues in scalability. I mean, maybe you can talk about this. All the crazy things. Because we got a good echo. I guess now we're moving cameras.
Yeah, we're moving cameras. You have to mute too.
Where's the sound coming from, boys? Right. Middle button.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, you're over here now. Well, this is good timing.
Yes.
There it is.
Okay, there we go.
This is good timing because Wojtek can maybe take over and talk more about the blockchain-based challenges that we've been dealing with.
Yeah, so one of the blockchain challenges is the actual blockchain. So in general, in our experience, starting with writing the smart contracts and starting from the bottom up doesn't actually slows the process significantly, but it's something that we, I guess, all instinctively feel like something cool to do. You know, everyone, there's this new Ethereum thing. Everyone wants to start writing blockchain stuff. Everyone wants to write this Solidity code, and they don't really think how the user will interact with that. Right? So that's where we kind of started, and it's only now that we're moving a focus from the blockchain part into the user experience part. And one of the big stumbles that we had, and there was an article about it as well, was the gas prices on the main blockchain, on the main Ethereum network. It was very, very expensive to do anything in our DApp. And we decided that since we really needed to use it to write a bridge between the main network and a Ring2B test network. The challenge there is actually not writing the bridge, but something we're realizing only now, communicating how this bridge works to the end users and making it actually clear enough so that they don't give up. Because especially when you have a plugin like MetaMask and you don't want to use our wallet, you would have to switch between networks pretty much constantly. Just registering would require you to switch.
So we are looking at ways to make this process more streamlined. And that's been one of the biggest challenges right now.
Yeah. Well, this is an AMA, so we're excited to hear your questions. We have Che here, who's actually pretty new to the party, so yeah. We're going to use her as a guinea pig to ask some questions.
Yeah. When is this DApp? Do you know? Like, do you have like a due date or something?
Very, very interesting question. We talked about it extensively yesterday. We feel confident that we can use it ourselves early July, and due to commitments and like summer being difficult for Giveth in general, we've decided that we would like to start onboarding people in September.
Oh, and there's another question here.
So. For like by yourself, like the plan is just
No. We would start with a few pilot projects and start very slow. And I don't see the DApp being really open for anyone to start anything they want by themselves for at least another half a year after that.
We have a few projects that have been working with us. I saw Grace Aid on the wall. We're so excited to get you on because he has been tireless supporter and has been like testing all of our things, and it's those people that are really helping us test the DApp and that we already feel could probably be comfortable with using this software. to be the first guinea pigs, because honestly, we're not going to get it right the first time. It's going to be some burden to use, and so we don't want to like throw it out there early. You know, let's see. We're really excited to get external feedback and see like what we've designed this almost probably too much for ourselves. So we really need to hear what do other charities that are maybe not so deep in the decentralization and blockchain space, what do they think and what do they actually need? So after a few pilot projects, we'll open it wider and open it wider.
Plus there are security concerns for the very new software, and we would like to start small with few funds so that it's not that big of a target for hackers. And I think we're pretty sure that there's probably somewhere security hole S with any contract. Hopefully not, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. We were started after the DAO hack, right? So we learned. I always say I have PTS now, right? So we have lots of centralizing security features that once we have that will hopefully protect all the funds. But you know, it's always a risk in this place, in this space. So we will we hope to remove those centralizing security features as we gain faith in the code. But unfortunately, that just takes time, honestly.
Yeah, and do you know like already some charities that want to?
A lot.
Oh, a ton.
3 questions here already.
Small ones, big ones.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh.
We don't know that many donors.
Yeah. we no, you know, we actually have a lot of donors, but they're all these blockchain, right? Like, and there's different groups that approach us like that really want to be donors, but not necessarily in the charity space. Honestly, they're more like in the crypto space.
Yeah.
So you know, this is the Giveth DApp is almost a marketplace for donors and
and we basically don't want to limit it only for not-for-profit companies, but more for like social impact.
Yeah.
So even if you have a social business, I think you should be eligible for that.
Okay. For example, I have a project. I'm not sure if one person that has an idea. I can use it and try to get some.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
hey, I want to help. Like, I'm working in this project.
That's the dream. That's at least like that's what I hope that enables is some random person to like not have to go with fight through all of bureaucracy of becoming a nonprofit or anything like that. They just say, hey, I got this idea. This is what I'm going to do. I want to raise funds. I'm down to, you know, not have access to all those funds right away, but have them dished out to me as I'm successful, as I can.
And then the donor is for this person. Their money. They can say, you know, like not agree with that.
Yep. Even more importantly, they can talk to that person. They get connected to that person directly. Like a chat room is open like that, and they have direct communication to the people where they're sending their funds.
So I think we have 3 questions. 2 of them are kind of the same. One is from Gracie. Hello, Andreas. Do you envisage only using the parity bridge? And then the second one, what were the alternatives to the bridge you have considered, if any? So right now we actually wrote our own bridge that is very centralized. We're basically holding all the money. It's a little bit scary. It's not a final solution for sure. And we're looking at all the other options that are actually emerging right now. One big consideration was parity bridge, but I think we're still very open to use whatever bridge that comes and fulfills our needs.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty well set up for parity bridge. Like basically, we have the contracts on the test network and the mainnet that are the contracts won't have to change when parity finishes their bridge. But So when Parity does finish their bridge, we can just kind of swap out our offline service, our off-chain service, and change it for the Parity's off-chain service. And then everything should, ideally, assuming Parity doesn't change too many things between now and then, just work. But we considered all our scaling options. We felt it was, I mean, we did this whole campaign called Scaling Now, where we looked at state channels, we looked at, you know, I mean, the big two scaling options right now are state channels or bridge chains. And state channels didn't really work for us because it'd take a full redesign. And the side chains were perfect because we already had our solidity pretty much set, so we can just put that on a side chain. And then we can bridge the two chains. The reason why we picked Rinkeby testnet is because there's no open source block explorers, so that side chains can actually see internal transactions. Right now, there's a huge centralization in this space around Etherscan, and if Etherscan chooses to be on your network, then you can see internal transactions, and if not, then you can't. There's no one else who has that functionality. So that's why we have open source block explorers. Even though we love Etherscan, and like I always find myself in a place where I'm like talking shit against Etherscan. It's not. I actually love Etherscan, and I love the people that work there, but we need more options. So and that's why we have to be on Rinkeby, because we need to use Etherscan.
Okay, we have another question. Where did your funding come from?
Well, we had originally we had a very awesome anonymous donor who helped start Giveth, and he gave us, I think it was about 700 Ether, and we were, at that time, that wasn't that much. I think it was maybe $7,000, but Ether was $10, so it exploded. And Jordy and I have done some token audits and some other things to like just as the White Hat Group, sort of, to help out in the space. And we've sent a lot of money through those projects to Giveth. And as Ether's price went up, we all of a sudden had enough to really start a full organization. So really, most of it came from the bump in the price of Ether and our frugalness at the beginning of this project. And then, and then we've received a lot of donations in the recent months from the community at large. And you can see that at leaderboard.giveth.io. And we're actually not even pushing for donations at this point until we get the DApp going. I mean, of course, we're happy to see donations, and they've been coming in. It's been awesome. But honestly, we're excited for when you can actually donate and see exactly where those funds go. So you can see, oh yeah, you just paid Chris's salary for, you know, July 14th, that week of July 14th, right? It's like, wow, thank you. You paid 50% of that salary. I can't wait until that moment. And that's when we're going to make a donations push. Right now, it's really just people who appreciate our work supporting us.
Does it make sense talking about the DApp now to maybe briefly show, or first we answer other questions, or maybe you want to like show?
We can start with the other.
Sure. Okay.
So, what is the value of being able to hold your own funds? It seems like this is potentially dangerous and equivalent of cash under your pillow in general in crypto. So, I can kind of start. It is like holding money under your pillow because you are responsible for actually keeping the access to those funds. But at the same time, this basically allows you to transfer value digitally between large distances, which is something that the cash under your pillow cannot do. And especially in countries in Latin America where to get a bank account is a rather difficult process, or maybe where corruption is very present. This actually allows you to run a business, to actually receive payment for your goods, to do stuff like that.
Yeah, as MJ Sampnopoulos says, you know, Bitcoin is for the other 6 billion. And digital currencies are for people who are unbanked. That's if you had only the option of putting cash under your pillow, digital currencies would look really favorable because if you know 12 random words, you can travel with your funds, and that's pretty powerful. If you can just keep your money in your mind and be able to travel freely throughout the country with no possession. I mean, this is a very useful tool for people. Not so useful sometimes in the Western world, right, where we have awesome banking infrastructure. We can actually connect into international, money markets and have full connection. We have so much extra power in this world compared to people who can't really get KYC into those markets. So I think that we'll see a lot of interesting developments and use cases come up in lesser developed nations that don't have such a solid banking structure. And of course, for us, it makes we can show transparent transactions for donations and do cool things with smart contracts. And that's the magic. It's really, really useful for charitable situations, charitable solutions.
It's an open source blockchain for coming soon.
Actually, yeah. Just like everyone in the software biz, it's so easy to see. Oh man, it's right around the corner. We're so close, right? POA network is really close to providing pretty Etherscan-like solution. Hopefully this summer, but all it takes is one bug to derail 2 weeks of work, and you have to do a full redesign, and you just can't see that coming until it's there. So it's really not until maybe a week before launch that you can say, yeah, we know the date.
Yeah, and there's a lot of about Open Block Explorer. You're doing for the moment a number of sessions with everyone who's building it, who's actually working on it. So you can just check it also on our YouTube, but I'll share the link in the comments.
Yeah, and Seth Favis says, can you talk a little about feathers in your caching server? Let's go.
All right. So basically, when we wrote our proof of concept, DApp, we realized how unusable it is for the end user. In order to retrieve information from the blockchain, you actually have to wait for 3 to 5 minutes. At some point, it even completely fell below because there was a lot of repetitive calls from the browser to the blockchain. And for the new DApp, for the one that we're currently using, we've decided to start caching this information into feathers and really made this process very fast. So we realized that this is very centralized. It's something that should be worked on. Right now, we're also using feathers to store many other data that we don't store in blockchain. But very soon, the IPFS consortium will hopefully happen, and we will store most of the data in IPFS. Make sure that the data stays there, kind of replace and decentralize the feathers as much as we can. I don't know if that answers the question fully. Basically, feathers is really just a cache between blockchain, but right now it's also a centralized database for data that we don't necessarily want to store on blockchain, like pictures, videos, things like that.
I mean, at least our strategy has been start off centralized with a path to decentralization. We're working on several projects that will decentralize feathers. DApp node is another great project that if all else fails, we can allow multiple people to be hosting the Feather server, and you can choose which node you want to connect to. But honestly, I think with IPFS consortium and other techniques that we work on, we probably don't even need that.
Yeah, how crypto can help people in developing countries? Like, is it happening already? Do you think like people can like, start using it
Well, I'm not sure if it's happening already. Sadly, I'm afraid it's not the case. And one of the biggest problems that I've been also working with other projects. One of them was this kind of consortium of several big charities. Greenpeace was there, Islamic Relief was there, Red Cross, and we were trying to find out, Oxfam as well, we were trying to find out whether blockchain already could be used to transfer funds within these countries where it's often even difficult to do bank transfers. And the conclusion there sadly was that the last mile is completely missing. The last kind of problem where you exchange crypto into the local currency and vice versa. So we actually still have insufficient service, I would say, in the first world countries like US, Europe. Many of the exchanges there aren't actually that many. There's really just few that are well known that are used, but it's something that really needs to happen if we want to achieve mass adoption.
And we're working with projects that are doing it. This is definitely the problem. The biggest problem is that last mile. Converting crypto into some kind of local currency that people like. There's this great project called Aura Libre. They want to use our back-end system, our liquid pledging, to do what they call liquid lending. So that groups from outside, anywhere in the world, could actually lend out their crypto to Mexican people, right? And in Mexico, they have this little place called Oxxo, and it's kind of like a 7-Eleven type store. And a lot of people pay their bills there. I've even bought a plane ticket because that is a place where you go to pay bills for anyone. And they have this very cool, thorough payment service. And so what they want to do, Aura Libre is already connected into the Oxxo payment service. So they can actually create a QR code on someone's phone. And if that person participates and says, hey, I want a micro loan, right? They can have a QR code on their phone, go to their local Oxxo, and Oxxo, right? And say, hey, this QR code says give me money. And then the Oxxo cashier will just hand them cash. And so then the end user never has to deal with crypto, and but at the same time they get the benefit from the international spread. There's another project that's similar to that called ID Box. The guys, they're a little distracted by it. Well, actually, the ID Box has like the whole team, but I think they're more famous for their drone project. Honestly, it's like flying carpet. It's a really cool project as well. But they basically have a box that they can give to any merchant, and that merchant can then be a recipient of can disperse funds to people's cell phone numbers. So anyone can give their cell phone number to this guy at the merchant, and he'll get like maybe 2% of all the funds, right? And he would be tasked with actually converting into fiat for everybody. But then when somebody comes with their phone number, they can get some money. So like anyone could donate to a small town, they could donate $1,000, and you'd be split, $5 to everyone who registered. And the merchant might get like, $20 extra for actually going somewhere and converting it. So like there's different cool projects like that, and we're hoping as being Giveth and getting our word out there as Chris does so well, that all these projects can kind of tell us that they're working on these things so that we can connect people to each other so that they can be more effective. Is that a question? Oh yeah.
From Grace Aid.
Grace Aid, Andreas. Grace Aid sees Giveth as a fantastic opportunity to tap into crypto donations with KYC and AML in mind. How do you tackle that? Will this hamper scaling and adoption? I mean, personally, I don't think it will. I think some people really want, charitable donation credits, to discount from their taxes. And I think Giveth is really well primed to make that easy because we track the donations. So if you, this is down the line. Okay, these are features that first we have to get a base layer done, but it shouldn't be that crazy to put in something that says, hey, I'm from the States and I only want to donate to 501c3 charities, so that I can get my charitable donation. And I want to donate to the subject of healthcare, right? And so then you donate to the healthcare DAC. This only goes to 501c3s. And then when a delegate tries to move those funds around, they can actually only move it to a project that's 501c3. And then when your donations actually go to a person that is 501c3, you'll get your receipt emailed straight to you, right? And if that 501c3 has some kind of limitation that says, hey, we need to know this person is verified of this and that, then we can add that feature that says, hey, you as a donor, you'll be able to have access, you'll see other campaigns when you are cruising around if you are a 501, if you are verified with the AML requirements. Well, I don't.
It depends from country to country. As far as I know, there's countries that are kind of like safe haven in that sense. One of them is Switzerland. That's why many of the charities actually have their base there. And in general, there are places where you actually don't need to know the source of your funds as a charity, which is, I guess, a good thing.
I mean, honest donation is a thing, right?
Exactly. And basically, that's what we're trying to do with Giveth as well, right? We're just empowering these charities to receive money, but maybe in future you can actually just define from which sources you would be okay with this money. Anonymous sources, fine. Then sure. If you require some proof, some KYC, well, maybe that could be implemented. That's all like feedback that we will hopefully get from first users of the app.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is why a lot of these questions, and thank you, Andreas, for that so much. Really, we need more of that feedback, and that's why we need to open this up to a few parties. We just have to get it working. And we're so, let's see. I do agree it's possible. Let's see, Andreas. I do agree it's possible to have clarity and KYC AML only with Giveth. Actually, the source of funds is not known when someone donates to Grace directly through traditional centralized. Yeah. So
it can't be much different than like the Salvation Army going around with their pots collecting money.
Yeah, all that comes from Santa. Right? They're saying they want to see a demo.
Yes.
How do we make a demo happen?
That's just Wojtek, you can share a screen, and then we switch.
Yeah.
I think you're not in Hangout. Oh,
Questions?
I'll share it with you.
Just one. What was or what is the main thing of
So Giveth is a community focused on blockchain for good. So the main aim, be careful with that. Oh, good. The main aim is really,
You're right.
is really to use blockchain technology to make the world a better place. And that is anyone who's focused on that can come to Giveth and work, and we will try to support them. We have lots of cool projects to support these projects that don't really have a good profit motive. You know, there's lots of blockchain projects that can do an ICO and make a bunch of money and get a bunch of support, but there's also a lot of projects that are really tackling tragedy or the common. You know, like shared resources that we all have and all want to be effectively used that can help with blockchain technology. And that is, to me, the real focus of Giveth. Like, how do we, and the focus of most charities and government in general is to tackle these issues of shared resources that end up being abused because there's no one that really controls them, and everyone who abuses them, you know, can kind of distribute their pain through everyone else that's sharing resources, right? This is the tragedy of common issue. And so Giveth is focused on that in general. But we really also love decentralized governance and the power of blockchain technology in that sphere. And our DApp is kind of this baseline infrastructure that we hope to build upon, and we hope to help other projects build upon. So most of our focus, I mean, like at least 50% of our focus, according to how the donations are split, are focused on the DApp. But when the DApp is running, actually, and people can choose where their donations go, that's when we get to have a little more community engagement on, well, what is more important? What should we focus on? And that should be decided by our community, by our funders.
Yeah, that's why we need that we're happy to do such a call, and we want to have lots of people on there and do this again if this is useful to people. And it's actually a good question, because it's one of the things that I also noted in what we could do with this AMA, and what is Giveth, how I wrote it down. So we are, what we always say, as Griff says, a decentralized altruistic community. And so I can share it with whoever wants, who is like in the riot of Giveth, so that join.giveth.io. But so we're working on a document that is like, what are like the things we're working on? And so I try to come up with a mission that goes to like, we're doing altruism, we're pushing towards decentralization, and we believe in the power of community. So these are like three blocks, and indeed the DApp is actually a part of all of this. So it's really important, because the DApp is about this decentralization of altruism, of course, but we're also working on this with the social coding initiative, for which we have an entire circle. And we're also doing this with governance. So that's one of the things that Griff is working on the Open Block Explorer that we talked about, and Feeling Now, and all these initiatives. So it's like a really, as Yaler, who was here just before, coined it, we're the Giveth Galaxy. So we really want to work on a lot of different elements. And that's what's so important, and why we will need the input of the community, not only for the DApp itself to test it and have their input to make the perfect DApp, but also to have the community who's actually going to use this DApp. And so yeah, it's the altruism, the decentralization, and the community.
Yeah, I mean, we work on a lot of things, but that's because a lot of people come in with desires to help, and then we find a way to let them do the things that they want to do. So it gets pretty wild. We have a lot of projects. His comms meeting is amazing. We actually try to go through all of them.
To everything.
And it takes us at least an hour.
Do you know how many projects?
At least.
Yeah, we have
It's
some.
ridiculous.
Yeah, we have a number of really active projects, and then there are others that like go down during a certain period. But for example, now we're coming up with Decentral, which is an event that's happening at Burning Man, and it's decentral.giveth.io. It's another thing where we want to talk about decentralization, for example. That's something that Griff is organizing. So all of us are involved in projects and tasks, and so we're all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, every person has 3 or 4 projects sometimes. I mean, some people have fewer, like Wojtek pretty much has 1, maybe 2, you know, because his is like all his time. I have like 7 or 8 at a given moment, you know. It just depends. And some people come with Giveth with just 1 project and do that time, you know.
Yep.
But we just want to support everyone that's making the world a better place. So Wojtek, it looks like he's queued up.
Okay, then I'll
It
switch.
gets tight and then you
Yeah,
try that though, or
I switched it.
Oh, you switched it.
Now you can see it.
Oh, okay. I still can't see it on the.
It has a little bit of a delay, but you go ahead.
Okay. All right, so this is it. This is that. Let me get rid of this warning. So DAG has the DApp has three, let's say, different entities. The biggest one is a DAC, and we have a Giveth DAC. This is our universe. This is the universe Giveth Galaxy, right?
Yep.
Full of unicorns, and it has several projects underneath, which is very active now. But these projects, these campaigns, we call them campaigns, are actually usually have one need. For example, Edu for the download, or Chris for the com circle, or something that I'm going to actively promote here, that development right now underneath. So the campaigns are something. Are an actual project. So the community was a little bit more like it has multiple projects underneath it. It can also kind of delegate the money that goes to the community also to other projects. Doesn't really necessarily need to be to the projects within the community. And it's really to just link people around a cause. And however, the campaigns are an actual projects that are tackling specific problem, and for that they have a set of milestones, kind of moving towards those projects, towards the goals of the project. And I'm going to show, for example, my milestone from last week. So right now we're using the DApp a little bit as an accounting system, and retrospectively we're basically saying what we've done and how we moved the project that we were working on towards the end goal. So here this is my milestone, what I did in a week. And you can see a report. You can see that there's an independent reviewer that is tasked to confirm that I've actually done what I described, and the recipient, which is also me, so it doesn't show. So at this point, I would like some questions if you have.
Yeah, so don't hesitate. It's like if you go back up to the higher level, Wojtek, it's like you see this. This is really from the DAC, which is the first building block, which is really the community. Under it, you have campaigns that are linked specifically to the community, and every campaign can have a number of milestones. So you can propose a milestone, or Wojtek, as he showed, he can also create a milestone himself. So that's like how the system will be built up. And then, so how our question to you is, of course, that's also why we're showing this. Do you have questions about, if you are a community, for example, how would you use this? Which are the questions you have in your mind? So we're gonna send out surveys and do more user testing. And of course, in the future, open it up to everyone. But in the meantime, if you're wondering, like, how does this specifically work? Then you see this. Did you show also the reviewing process?
No, actually no. But I was almost thinking, how about we slowly wrap this up, and we're going to, and we say that we will do another call like this in a month after we actually start using it ourselves. Yeah. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for coming. We have a new release version coming out where people can donate and actually trace their donations, and we're so close to releasing it. We're just doing the finishing touches on the user experience around the fridge. But when we finish that, and then by next month, we should be able to show you you'll see a new version up here that has way more functionality, and we'll be tracing our donations so that everyone can see exactly where their funds are headed and what they were used for. So next month, probably around the same time, we will do this again. So definitely join our Riot, join.giveth.io, and see if to stay in touch with the exact time and date. And we'll see you next month.
Yeah. There's Grace still asked the question about how we can use this with for other projects, and well, that's indeed the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that you've been testing the DApp. We have some release process which is happening every 2 weeks in general. This one has been delayed for almost 6 weeks because of the Q3, right? But very soon we're going to start doing another internal release, and we're going to ask some testers to try it out, and if you're interested to try to explore for yourself, don't hesitate to contact me or Chris or anyone else.
Yeah, it's really we have a special room for that in Riot. It works in Slack as well, so you just go to join.giveth.io. If you want to help us test it, we have our regular releases in the room release testing, and we can add you to it. So feel very free to join us, and whatever way you feel that you want to help out, that you want to contribute. So we haven't even really talked about it, but some people on the call might know it, that we have our system of reward DAO. So we really want to reward people who work with us, and we have a system of dishing points, even with a points bot now. And so a lot of things need to be done. So we are looking for you, for the community, to actually join us. So,
yeah, if you hang out on the contributors channel and you do something for blockchain for good, we're likely just to throw you some ether, just a little bit, almost like a tip, just to encourage you and for telling us so we can connect you to other resources that might be effective. This is the real magic of our Reward DAO program. So don't be shy. Talk to us about your projects and tell us what you're doing, and we'll help support you in any and every way that we can.
Whatever skill you have, there's room in the Giveth Galaxy. So feel welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.